Welcome to this week's webinar, Digital Marketing for Lawyers. It's my great pleasure to have you here on board on this webinar where I'm going to share some insights for around digital marketing, especially for law firms, and how it applies for you and your firm. The agenda of today, as usual, there's a personal introduction of myself, just 2 minutes, so that you know who's talking in case this is your first webinar. Then the topic of the week is lead capture and lead nurture, and that's just an introduction. Talk a little bit about it, show you some examples, why that matters to you, and then there's also time for question answers in case you have any questions. Usually there are 2 or 3. And I'll give you an update about what's going to change going forward and in the future. So look forward to that webinar, and let's get started with the brief introduction. So my name is Michael Alf. I was working for 12 years with Capgemini, which is one of the largest consulting and IT companies in the world. And I was doing work in the consulting area, in IT, and business development, project management, account management, so kind of a broad background. In this role, I negotiated numerous deals, contracts, agreements with legal professionals on both sides of the tables, both globally and locally in various countries. And I really appreciate the work and the relevance and importance of having a solid legal framework in place in case something goes wrong. And believe me, I've seen things go very, very wrong. And then you're glad to basically refer to great solid foundation. Then I was working 1.5 years with Asciano, running the project management office there, and negotiated deals and contracts as a buyer. So that was more the other side of the table. I'm then founded, and I'm now the CEO of Digital for Lawyers, a digital marketing agency for the legal law firms, legal profession. I work with law firms to help them streamline, optimize, and wherever possible, automate the online and mobile marketing activities. I'm also publisher and founding editor of the Modern Executive Technology Career and Work-Life Balance, which is available exclusively in the Apple Newsstand. And I'm working on a special issue for the legal industry. Mentioned that before. I'm still kind of considering, is that an issue, special issue, or should I not publish a book instead and use some of the tools I'm also teaching here. And let me know what you think and what you want to see. So with that, let's go into that. As an anchor point, what we typically use is that letter of awesomeness of digital marketing by Avinash. This is quite interesting, and it helps like as a reference point. And in the previous webinars, we spoke about mobile websites specifically, or optimized websites. We then had a look at Google advertisement, an initial look, and I shared some insights there. So what you also can see here is a couple of other things. And when you think about where does this fit, what we're talking about today, which is more the automation, which is not necessarily direct digital marketing on the front end. So I would actually put that somewhere in the integration. So there's a little bit of multi-channel integrations. We go very high up in the ladder, but there's also other elements in there which then goes into the email marketing here based on what we're doing. So there's a couple of aspects attached to that. So this letter of awesomeness of digital marketing actually helps you putting into perspective what we are talking about and what is relevant to you and what matters the most. So yeah, again here, it's quite interesting. I have quite a few conversations with law firms about their website and SEO. So that's at the bottom here, and that is important. And I can see demand and requests coming in from there. So that's an acceptable website that is SEO work. And then you move up to the mobile, which we partially spoke about, and we'll come back to that again and again. And then we have email and some paid search. Here's brand, but actually you can, for the legal industry, you can actually really create business out of that. So, and then we move up. So with that, that's the letter of awesomeness. Again, just to kind of recap that, I think I would like to do that again and again, which help you either when you're the first time on the webinar, you would see that, or when you actually come back and you can see that again and get a better perspective and can put that into perspective. So now let's move into the real content of today. Just one sec. So why is modern lead capturing and nurturing important? And it's quite interesting. The purpose of a website is not is actually not to generate traffic, but actually to convert traffic into leads and eventually into clients for your firm, and then eventually into business. And one of the things I'm showing here, that's a lead capture page from Digital for Lawyers. So that's the main website. That's not the mobile optimized website. We'll come back to that in a moment. And one of the key things every website should have is something where you capture actually the interest and the leads of your prospective audience and prospects. And this is by giving something valuable away, which is interesting to them, which is relevant to them. So let's say you might have a family law firm, and then you might give away something there which is relevant. Yeah. So so for example, the 10 things to watch out before you get married. That could be something you might actually put a report together and make it available here. Let me just see. I'm missing my mouse. Just one sec. No, that's good. Okay. So yeah, so that could be an example. So think about something which is relevant to your audience, to your prospects, and put a report together or get it done. So we just have one client where I put together actually a really nice report, and then they just kind of fine tune it and optimize it to their needs. But the 80% version I was able to provide. So it's actually really, really simple to get that going, and it's really, really powerful. So people then put their name and email in there, and then they are in your database, and you can actually communicate to them on a regular basis. So the other key aspect is obviously money invested into traffic wants an appropriate return. And imagine you have a situation where you don't have anything to capture the leads on your website. So people come to your website, they look around, they might call you, might not call you. But if they find something which really attracts them, they actually leave their details, which makes it so much easier than to communicate afterwards. One of the things which I regularly see is that people actually, drive traffic to usually to the home page, and then nothing really happens. And they think most people just love the website and love browsing around. When you think about it, is that something you typically do on websites, or are you kind of searching for something very specific? Yeah, and only if it's a really, really interesting website you would search around. So really consider the perspective of your prospects, of your customers when you do that. And again, the key is providing value and providing something relevant. And then you build up and maintain that relationship. And this is the foundation of a sustainable business, because when over time you build up that momentum, that list, and you nurture that, you create events, you do webinars, you provide information, relevant information, you do surveys what they need, and then they automatically have you in mind when something comes up, or when a friend needs some services, and then obviously they say, I'm always getting these very interesting information from law firm, Digital, for example, so I recommend you talk to them. They're really good, and they provide a lot of valuable information upfront. The other thing is you need to make sure you have that also on your mobile optimized website. So this is part of my mobile optimized website, and you can see it's the same report, it's the same approach. I put that together, and actually, so you can actually see that you can opt in on the mobile as well. Keep it even simpler than on the main website, because it's actually, yeah, it's just harder to to actually type into when you have your iPhone in front of you. So this is why it's so important to have a modern lead capture and nurturing process behind that. So the capturing is the first step. Then there's an automatic follow-up. And one of the beauties nowadays, you can do that on a multi-channel. So you can do that via the website, via QR codes, via voice, via text. So you have really a multi-channel opportunity, which is really great if you kind of utilize that and leverage that to build out your list of prospects, and then obviously over time you build up your client base as well out of it. So with that, let's move on to the next page. So how do you capture? And that was what I'm talking about. I want to give you specific examples here. How to capture. So use that multi-channel lead capture. So what you see here on the bottom is a screenshot of a presentation I'm giving when I talk to people. And again, I'm referring here to that Google report because I still firmly believe that is highly relevant. That's why we talked about that in the last webinar. And so I give that away for free. And then I say, well, please text DM4L first name and email to this specific number, and they get the report for free. And then they type in the number and they get the report for free. And you can start communicating to the prospects. And then from there on, make sure you deliver valuable content on a regular basis. Regular might be weekly, might be fortnightly, might be monthly, shouldn't be less than monthly. Typically, you want to mix that, and depends on obviously your client base. Might be a newsletter, might be actually an app where and we talk about that, where you push the news through the app. Through push notifications every fortnight, might be a monthly webinar, and so on. So you have different ways of providing this. And you want to also follow up in a very structured and partially automated way. Yeah, so part of that should be automated. And one of the things, so what we're doing here with that weekly webinar, I want to demonstrate how it can work. That's why we're using these tools. And the bottom, you can see the opt-in, yeah, sorry for the background noise here. And you can see an opt-in for the weekly webinar which we're holding. And so this is a webinar. Basically, that what I created here is a special subdomain with a landing page. So webinar.dm4l.com.au. You can sign in. You get automatically then signed in into the webinar, and you get the regular information and the webinar updates. And even when webinars are moving, then you get this information, and you're always up to date. So you can automate a lot of these processes. You need to set that up once, get them structured, or get us to help to help you with that, so that we get set that up, and then it's set up and it works. It works along, and you don't have to do too much with it. And if you don't want to do anything with it, we can even take care of that and make sure we provide relevant content and so on. And then you build up that prospect list, which then can become a client list. And then obviously analyze the behavior of people. So one of the things is obviously relevant. What are the key questions your audience has? What are they interested in? Because then you can actually tailor your content and deliver specific content to your audience, and make sure they actually get what they are looking for. And based on that, it's a lot easier for you to put together a report or a blog article or whatever, or again get that done. Yeah, so you can outsource almost everything, and get it done in a professional way. Just to give you another idea, one client I was working with, they had a report, a nice report, which they gave away as part of the opt-in, and but it was not looking nice. So they basically asked us to make it a nice looking report. So we made sure it's everything formatted and looked in the right way. We also created a nice cover, so that it becomes a really nice nice report, even to the point you could actually use that as a as book, as an ebook, and even if you wanted, you could even sell it and try to sell it. I mean, for that one was probably only 10-15 pages, but yeah, if you have something which is kind of 30 pages, you might actually consider making a book out of it, and actually selling it, and therefore bringing out your brand. It's not that hard, and yeah, and we are here um, to help you there. Again, the key one is learn from your list what is most important to them, because then you can tailor your content and actually yeah, make it very specific. So this is the topic around lead capture, lead nurturing. Again, it's only initial introduction. We're not into the very details. Just want to give you a flavor why it's so important, and how it could work in principle, so that you can start working on yeah, putting some thoughts into place, and get things started and rolling for your firm, and benefit from it. Because the earlier, obviously, you start with it, the better it is. The earlier you build that momentum, and that list of potential prospects. And it might take some time, I know, and therefore it's important to set that into place. And then you can gain that momentum through various paths. Going forward, in one of the future ones, I'm going to share some other interesting developments, and a strategy which talks about you as a firm everywhere now. So how to use actually all the new technologies and channels, to actually, yeah, so that you are present everywhere, which kind of is not only on Google on the first page, but actually goes much brighter on every device. Again, the device is very important, and there are ways to do it. You might have seen that I started also putting this one here, this webinar, up as a podcast. So you actually can listen and watch that webinar on the podcast in the iTunes store, and you can download it for free here as well. Going forward, I'll probably make some tweaks here. But for now, thank you very much for the attention, and I will hand over and type in if you have any questions. Then please type that into the question box now. Thank you very much. I see one question asking, is it kind of difficult and expensive to get started with the whole kind of lead capturing, lead nurturing? No, it's not. As I said, it's relatively straightforward. It's an initial setup. You can start somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000. I would say typically to make it properly, and with the use of the platform, which we are also providing, for example, which is a multi-channel lead capture platform, which you can use, and integrates either into your website, or you get the QR code and all of that. But obviously we need to get that right in the beginning. It can go up if you have a more complex requirement. Then obviously it can go up and can get more more extensive. But typically it's relatively straightforward. It's not a huge investment, but it's definitely worthwhile. When you think about, well, what's an average client worth to you? Yeah, 4,000-5,000 maybe, so you only need actually one client out of it actually to cover the cost, and then from there on become profitable. That's so it is not hard, and is not very kind of cost intensive. Any other questions? The question is, are there any specific solutions? Well, there are probably a couple of solutions. The one we are using is called Instant Customer. It's a great platform which really integrates everything. As I said, the multi-channel. You can podcast. You can do other things with it, and which is the beauty. You can also integrate into any of your most of your back office. So if you have a CRM system, for example, most likely that system can integrate there, which actually makes it even nicer. Let's say you have a Salesforce as a CRM tool, or another one. You can actually easily integrate that, and then actually capture the leads and put that into the CRM system and follow up. If that's one There's other things as well, like for example, even accounting with Xero or things like that work as well. So that's quite nice here as well. Any other questions? As it seems right now, there's no other questions, so that's great for now. So if you have any questions, obviously, yeah, send me an email at michael@dm4l.com.au. Going forward, one of the things I'm considering, and maybe there's some feedback you could give. So I'm traveling from the 1st of May on internationally, so I might not be able to do the webinar actually for 2 weeks because of being in the air. But also thinking about the approach going forward and now launching the podcast. So my idea was the following, and maybe you can give me your thoughts either now or later. I was thinking of actually doing a podcast per week, similar to that with 15, 20 minutes, which you can easily listen to, and then only have the webinar with question and answers once a month. Because I know you all tied with your time, and time is valuable, and it's quite often it's hard to make that time and try that to do that early in the morning at 8 a.m. But maybe it's better to have only one webinar and actually make the content available through the podcast. Is that something which makes sense or which is of interest? I can see, yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. Um, Other thoughts? Okay, so we probably have that, give that a go, and again, you'll get the link to the podcast, and then you can actually download the podcast and listen to the podcast. And I mean, you can anytime you can reach out with questions you have, and yeah, and ask me so I can help out. But then you can actually, at your convenience, you can listen to the podcast, for example, on the train, in the car, whatever. They will be with slides, so it's a video podcast, but obviously you can do the audio as well only. So, and if you type in marketing lawyers in the iTunes store, in the podcast store, you'll find me. If you type in my name, Michael Alf, you'll find me, and then you just subscribe, and you get get the podcast straight to your device wherever you're using it. So hopefully that makes sense. And I look forward to being in touch with you again. I wish you a wonderful day. And if you are in Australia, have a good Anzac Day, an important day to remember, and have a wonderful weekend afterwards. Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Michael Alf.